Today we talk about Monster Hunter's Wild. We also are going to discuss an old 90s publisher making a revival and Severance. What the heck? All this and more. This is Nerds with Mics. Hello and welcome to episode 173 of Nerds with Mics. I'm Travis.
I'm Justin.
And no Jared today. His work schedule changed, so it's just Justin and I running it today. But we have a packed show. We got some news. We got some crazy fan theories around Severance. A little bit of everything, honestly. So let's go ahead and get started. But without further ado, we always like to talk about what we've been up to. And Justin, it sounds like you've been up to a whole lot this week, mostly work. But what else have you been up to?
Yeah, so I've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter Wilds. Really liking this one. I'd played the beta twice before it came out, and I was really into it. I've never really been into Monster Hunter games before, so this is really, I'm going to go and say this is my first one. I played a little bit of Monster Hunter Worlds, really didn't give it a fair shot, but I'm really liking this one. It's really fun. Marvel Rivals.
It's a little bit more accessible, and I think that was kind of their intention.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, it does feel like it does feel kind of easy. I mean, I've been knocked out a couple of times, not many, but it does feel.
How far are you in?
I'm probably like 5 hours in, I think.
Yeah, I'm right about the same area. I'm fighting that alpha dog. It's not a dog, but it's like the alpha. Names. Have you been to the forest yet? So it's that pack. It's like those brown ones that kind of look like doggish type ones. I'm fighting the alpha one of that in the story, which I have a feeling is going to be the end of chapter 1, but I'm not really sure. But you're like fighting them in like a sand and lightning storm.
Yes, I know you're talking. That's a great fight.
Yeah, that's the one that I'm at right now. That's the first fight that I've actually died on. I haven't died in any up to that point, and I was very close to beating that monster, and I unfortunately got KO'd. So
I'm gonna need us to clip you saying beating that monster, just for my own personal reasons. But
like it owes me money. Okay, got you.
I have also been playing Marvel Rivals. It's very much an addiction at this point. I need to go to rehab. I've been watching Severance, which we will talk about in greater detail later in the show. We got caught up on St. Dennis last night also.
That has the guy from TikTok on it, one of the comedians that's been famous on TikTok for a while.
Who
well, unless there's a new one. So I just watched the one that has Morgan J in it.
Is he like the celebrity that came in?
Yes. Is there a new episode after that?
I think that was the most recent one that we watched. I didn't know that was a real
Yeah. He's just famous
guy.
On TikTok. Yeah. But he's a traveling comedian at this point. Yeah.
The guy that's like the main guy, that's like kind of the nerdy guy. That's the guy from Jury Duty who made the chair pants and did soaking.
Are you talking about Matt?
I think so. Yeah. He's the guy from Jury Duty that you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I was like, man, that guy looks familiar. And then I looked at him, I'm like, oh, that's the guy from Jury Duty who had the chair.
What's funny is his backstory, I think even in St. Dennis, is he came from Mormons, I believe.
Something like that. Ultra religious.
All about that soaking still to this day.
Oh my God. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to. What about you?
So for me, a little bit of the same. So I've been playing Monster Hunter Wild, same as you. I'm about 5 hours in. I am really enjoying it so far. To your point, I've also tried to get into Monster Hunters before, and I've just not managed to last that long. That's what she said.
2 for 2 tonight.
I know, on fire. He's heating up. But
boom, shot.
yeah. But I have been enjoying it. I definitely feel like it's more accessible. I will say, just all the different button combinations for different menus and this and that is a little overwhelming. I'm not going to lie. Like I can't even figure out the one menu that I'm trying to figure out how to get into that I can't is to figure out how to switch the item that I want to shoot out of my little bow gun thing that I have, the thing that's on my arm. It's like, I can't even figure that out. But
there's a lot of
everything else. Yeah. But outside of that, like, have you managed to like actually mount one of the monsters yet?
Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting how that works. Like I didn't realize, like I was in the middle of this one fight and I looked up at a cliff and there was something I could grapple to. So I grappled, swung, and then came down over top. And I was like beating him up. It's pretty cool. What weapon did you go with?
I'm going with just the sword and shield right now. And I'm liking it quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, are you familiar with how to like rock a secondary one and how to switch
Yeah,
to it? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I have the hunting horn right now, which looks like a big, well, the original one looked like a big saxophone, but it looks different now. So I'm doing that, and then my secondary is a bow, but I haven't really used it much, honestly.
Okay.
I also haven't played in a group yet. I've mostly been playing solo so far, but it is crossplay, so at some point I'm going to jump in with some people. But played that yesterday. I actually spent a couple hours playing Avowed, which honestly have really enjoyed. So much so that I decided to re-up my Game Pass, just so I could play it between my PC and my Xbox. And then also, the big thing I really like about it is it kind of reminds me of Skyrim, but with better combat. Is kind of what it reminds me of. But it's been really fun. I'm all caught up on Severance, which we'll talk about that obviously later. Started the new season of Reacher, and also watched the latest episode last night of Saint Dennis. I'm curious though, like how many do we know how many episodes we're getting in the season? I mean, that was just episode 12, and I know sometimes these sitcoms go for a little longer, but I'm not sure how many more we're going to get this season.
I'm
But
looking it up now.
I gotta say, Ron continues to be my favorite character. Honestly, the fact that you said you watched the latest episode,
Yeah.
the fact that like he was so like sad that he didn't get an invite to this after party, and then he finally gets one. It wasn't even that he wanted to go; he just wanted the invite.
Yeah.
He just wanted the invite so he could turn it down, which is hilarious.
Looks like we
Um,
get 18 episodes this season, and we are 13 in.
okay, got
The
you.
next
Uh,
episode is called "Listen to Your Ladybugs."
oh, interesting. Okay, and I will say the character I can't
It's a
remember her
Lindsey Graham
name.
reference, I think.
I
Google
think
Lindsey Graham and ladybugs when you get time.
so.
That's a little prank for our
Yeah,
listeners.
yeah. We'll see how that goes. Make sure your VPN is on though. But and then also right after you that, make sure you Google Lemon Party and see what that's about.
Oh no.
But I do have to say though, the character that was my least favorite is slowly growing on me, which was the blonde lady that kind of leads the hospital.
The boss,
Uh,
yeah.
I've finally have kind of like gave in to her, and I've enjoyed her character a little bit more. Um, once I stopped comparing her to Michael Scott, it was fine. But outside of that, that is all I have been up to. Now, I know that I have most of the news this evening, but we're going to get into some heavy discussion around Severance, which will probably be a decent amount. But at the head of the show, at the front of the show, I talked about
At the tip of the show.
the tip of the show. Yes, I talked about a famous '90s publisher making a revival. Do you remember the old publisher called Acclaim?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
pumped about this news.
Yeah. So some noticeable franchises that you may notice that some notable franchises you may notice. Listen to me, I'm an idiot. But there's some popular WWF. They did a couple WWF games. They did The Simpsons. They did Alien. They did Judge Dredd. They did Batman. They did Spider-Man, Wolverine, Mortal Kombat, and Theme Park. They also were the company I do believe that was part of the original Turok as well. So this company is actually planning on making a revival. A classic publisher. They were like I said, they were around in the 80s and 90s. They're really planning on reviving the company, support not only indie developers but also revive some of their classic franchises, which I think is really cool. Some of their future plans is they want to revive Acclaim. Will be basically offering funding, marketing, PR support to indie studios and to resurrect those old franchises. So what do you got on this? Are you pretty excited about this? I know
I,
that I used to play some of the wrestling games back in the day. I doubt they're probably going to redo any wrestling games because I think 2K has kind of the market on that
yeah.
at this point. But I am excited about some of the other IPs that they're going to bring. Maybe some more updated like side scroller beat 'em up style games, possibly. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah. I think it's a great thing that they're coming back. I also agree. I don't think that any WWE games will come out because like I kind of think that's tied up with 2K, like you said. Now it's possible they could work out something for maybe like a uh, like an arcade style game or something. I
That
don't
or
really know.
yeah, it could be that, or it could be also. I mean, there's so many different versions. Oh, there went my camera. Look at me.
Uh-oh. What happened?
I'm here. Um, so what they might do is so there's so many different other companies that do wrestling. Obviously there's WWE, but now they have, like some of the other, I can't remember offhand, but they have a lot of the other ones that are not WWE. So they could get into that market as well. Since maybe that it's a little easier to get a licensing deal with that, obviously. But I don't think they don't have a hand at all in the new Turok, because I think that is just Microsoft, right? Between Microsoft and Rare, I assume.
I think so.
Yeah. So pretty excited about that, just because it's got that sense of nostalgia, obviously. So pretty excited about that.
They did a few
Okay.
NBA Jam titles, and they also did the NFL. I think it was NFL. Was it All Star Quarterback Club? NFL Quarterback Club.
Oh, that one
On
was actually a good one. I remember that.
it was on Nintendo 64. I love those games back in the day. So, yeah, I obviously they're not going to make NFL games either. It will be interesting to see like what original IPs they come up with.
Right.
But man, if we can get Midway back too, that'd be great.
I know, right? Yeah, I
Revive
know.
the arcades.
Yeah, there you go. Now, something that I know that you were a fan of. You were a big LA Noire fan, right?
Yeah, I actually played it just as recently as a couple weeks ago. I've
Oh,
been playing
really?
through it again. Yeah.
Yeah, so I saw this news today and thought about you, not in a sexual way or anything, but I just know that you're a big LA Noire fan. But Rockstar actually acquired Aussie studio founded by LA Noire director. This acquisition was announced. Rockstar Games acquired them, acquired Video Game Deluxe, that is the Sydney-based studio, and renamed it to Rockstar Australia. The studio founder, Brendan
McNamara.
McNamara, who previously founded Team Bondi and worked on LA Noire, founded Video Games Deluxe in 2013. And obviously, for their future projects, the big thing is Rockstar Australia will more than likely be involved in the development of Grand Theft Auto 6. We're still not convinced that this game is coming out this year, right?
I know I am. Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
Even though Fable was delayed,
No,
you
yeah.
think,
I mean, they just said like their stakeholder meeting. They've said a couple times, just like in the last month, that it is coming out later this year. Like not the developer, but like the suits, the people that want to get paid. So I
okay.
definitely think it's coming out.
Do you think it will lead? Do you think it's possible we'll get Grand Theft Auto 6 online before we get campaign? Or you think the other
No,
way around?
no. I think we'll get them both at the same time, but
I,
yeah.
I saw that people were taking part in events where they're going to do like one last ride around the whole map on that big loop in Grand Theft Auto 5 to sunset the game before everybody moves to Grand Theft Auto 6. And I will not be taking part in that. No.
Yeah. So
Go ahead.
Brendan McNamara from Team Bondi and now Rockstar, I think Australia is what we said. He did have some pretty bad accusations against him for making the work environment terrible while making LA Noire. So it will be interesting to see if he's changed since he's now in another leadership position with Rockstar Games. But
Yeah.
you think we'll get LA Noire too?
That is a good possibility, because honestly, if he was part of that team, that could be something that they also, give him responsibility for, since he, has experience with that franchise. But I would love that, honestly.
Yeah.
I think about LA Noire with like the tech that we have today, and it would be awesome.
I would take an LA Noire remaster, like a true, like what they did with Mafia a few years ago.
Yeah, but not what they did with the original Grand Theft Auto trilogy.
No, not that.
Where they used AI to do all that for them. Not
Yeah.
great. No, I would definitely take another one as well. And then the other story that I got is the fact that there are going to be this year more Xbox exclusive games coming to PlayStation in 2025 than there'll actually be Sony exclusive games in 2025. So thought that was interesting. Microsoft has obviously announced that there's several Xbox games coming to PS5. Those are Age of Empire 2, the definitive edition. You also have what is
Age of Mythology.
Age of Mythology. I wrote that and I was like, I hope I remember this. Retold. You also have Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
I didn't
is
know what that
coming.
one was, that acronym,
Yeah.
but that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Forza Horizon 5, which is super interesting. And then you're going to have Doom, The Dark Ages, which is the newest Doom. And then we'll also get The Outer Worlds 2. So the best lineup on PS5 this year might just be the Xbox games that are coming.
You know what's wild about those games you just listed?
What?
Is almost all of them come out before June.
That is wild.
Which
actually.
makes you think, what does the second half have?
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is wild. Do you think there's no chance that we're gonna get like a Game Pass feature on PlayStation, right? Like that's not gonna happen, right?
I wouldn't.
I tell you
At
what
this
would be
point, I
cool.
wouldn't. So
I'll tell you what would be cool though is if they said, "Oh, you want to bring games to our console? Well, how about this? How about you can do that?" But what's going to happen is for everybody that plays for PlayStation Plus Premium, they get your Xbox exclusive games included in that. That's what they should have done.
well, that would be too generous. I don't think that's ever going to happen either. Not saying I don't want it to happen, but yeah, it's not going to happen. I do think.
There's been some decent games hit premium. I saw Jedi Survivor is now in there as well.
Yeah,
which is pretty good. Go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say I loved Indiana Jones so much, and it's a short enough game that I might pick it up again when it's on sale on PlayStation and play it through on the Pro. I imagine those trigger haptics are nice.
Ooh, yeah, for sure. I'm excited. I mean, because the Outer Worlds is that developer is the same people that just did Avowed, right?
Yeah, Obsidian.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that. I played the first Outer Worlds and it was pretty fun. It kind of just reminded me of like Fallout in space. It's kind of what it reminded me of. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. Because I don't even know what exclusive Sony games like we're even getting this year. Do you know?
Ghost of Yote. I know I'm not saying that
looking right
right.
now.
I don't
No,
think I'll
you're
ever
good.
say that right. I
Finally,
don't
one that
know.
you struggle with. Not
Midnight
just me
Murder
all the
Club
time.
comes out pretty soon. Which have you seen what they're doing with Midnight Murder Club?
No, but I wish they'd release a new Midnight Club Racing.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. Go ahead.
Two totally different games. There's one version that comes with like 5 friend passes. It's like one person buys the game, but like 5 people own it.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't even know what type of game that is. I've not heard of it.
It's like a hide and seek shooting game. I played the beta. It was fun.
So we have Ghost of Yote. We also have Hell Is Us. That's another one. Wait, this isn't exclusives though, because Shadows is on there. Okay, this is not. Oh, we're gonna get Death Stranding 2 this year, right?
I think we're supposed to.
Yeah.
What was that?
The car outside. I don't know what's happening. All right, yeah. Days Gone Remastered, which obviously has already been released. The Midnight Walk, that's not what you were referring to, is
I don't think Days Gone Remastered's out yet, is it? I thought it was
April
next month.
25th. April 25th.
You live from the future? My God.
Yeah. Lost Soul aside, we also have Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yote. And there's also going to be that Wolverine game, but I don't think we're going to get that this year.
I'm starting to think we won't also.
I'm also thinking I might try to play Days Gone Remastered because I think it's only going to be $10 to upgrade. I'm pretty sure one of us bought it because we definitely have it.
Yeah, we do.
But outside of that, that's all. I mean,
is Xbox king again?
I don't know. I mean, I told you, I don't know, to be honest.
Looking that way. My friend Greg, he always says Xbox is the best of all the systems and all the games. So, Greg, if you're listening,
I will say Game
totally
Pass.
said that.
I will say Game Pass is the better service for sure.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Greg doesn't really say that. I was trolling him. But Fallout 76 is his favorite game, though. Game Pass is far and away the best subscription service, probably of any subscription service you can get across all mediums. I mean, it's
such a good deal.
Yeah, it's very much like top tier.
The only thing I wish is you buy a year of it. I've noticed that's one of the services you can't buy. No, the most you can buy is 3 months at a time.
I wonder if that's because the price increases are
I don't know.
Coming.
Maybe it's a good possibility. All right. Well, now that we've gotten through news, what we're going to get into is we're going to talk about. We each have a topic we're going to bring, and I know you're really excited to talk about this next topic, and I want you to give me all the tea
All right.
So let's
I
go
don't
ahead
have
and
any tea, which is a good thing. I want to go in and be shocked this week and the next 3 weeks total. So
okay.
Severance. So this is a huge spoiler alert. If you haven't watched Severance, please stop listening. You're going to ruin some big, big things here, and we don't want that to happen. So this is your final warning. I'm stalling. I'm dragging this out as long as possible. Press pause. Press pause. Press pause. Go do something productive. Do not listen to the rest of this episode if you're not caught up on Severance or care about Severance and are not caught up. I think I gave them enough time. What do you think?
I think so. I think so. Yes.
All right. So I remember you and I discussing after season 1. I'm sure there's audio proof of it through a podcast. We both were kind of under the impression that Lumen was, and not just us. Like I think the vast majority of people were under the assumption that like Lumen was somehow trying to revive Kier. They were like making clones. Jimma really died, but this is a recreation. This is them testing the cloning technology. And it turns out none of that. Well, maybe not none of that, but the Jimma part's not true. Jimma is alive. Jimma never died, which is kind of crazy because as we know, Mark has been getting busy with Helena and Helly, which you may be thinking if you don't care about Severance and you're just listening to the spoilers anyway, there's a Helena and a Helly. Yeah, they are. And I'm not
Yeah.
going to elaborate any further. You need to watch the show. Um, so this changes everything going forward, I feel like, because not only do we know Jimma is in fact alive, but we now know what they're doing to her. Well, I guess we kind of don't. We know like the tasks
We know
that
they're
they're
holding
having her
her.
do.
They're holding her hostage. Essentially, that's part
Yes.
of it.
Yes. What do you think? So in this episode, this most recent one, which was called Chikai Bardo, it it showed us flashbacks of their relationship prior to her
It's a very
accident.
good episode
It
because we've
was
not really seen them together leading up to this point.
it was very much reminiscent of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which, as you know, is my favorite movie.
Yeah, your
Um,
first tattoo.
yes, it is. But that was a bad shot. It doesn't matter. But I don't know. Like we see them doing these tasks for her or against her will, basically.
These different rooms.
She has been severed multiple times. So like, Mark goes down the elevator, he's severed once. Irving goes down the elevator, he's severed once, right? She is severed to like each individual room, and as we find out, the elevator. So it's all kind of leading up to this Cold Harbor case that Mark's working on. He's at 96%. What do you think Cold Harbor is?
I don't know. I couldn't call it, to be honest with you. I'm wondering if it's a way to either bring somebody back to life or to take somebody's conscience or mind and put them into somebody else.
Okay.
Is what my guess is, but I don't really know. What about you? Do you have a guess?
I have
Or a theory?
I have kind of I guess I kind of have a theory I'm kind of working with, and it's probably not airtight, but think back to last week's episode, okay? Irving and Bert, or sorry, Bert and Fields host Irving for dinner,
I
and
think this is a different timeline, by the way, BT dubs.
what? I don't
I
think we're
think
getting into timeline stuff. You
okay.
do?
Well, not like a separate timeline, like an alternate, like in a different world. I'm wondering if that conversation between them we're seeing in if it's not in the same timeline as the current events is what I'm wondering. But I could be
I
wrong.
I I don't think you're right, but I don't
Okay,
have
that's
any
fine.
reason to think that you're not right. You know what I mean? Other than just
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
gut
yeah.
feeling. It doesn't seem like the kind of show to do that.
Okay.
It's been pretty, linear so far, with the exception of the flashbacks. But what I was going to say is last week in that episode, they have a conversation leading to why Bert got severed. And it turns out he was kind of a rascal in his early years. And the church's statement, their position is that your innie can go to heaven, your outie can go to hell. That when you're severed, there's two of you. Your innie can go to heaven, your outie can go to hell. So I'm wondering if with Gemma being severed an infinite amount of times, I'm wondering if the Cold Harbor room will kill her. But then when they take her to another room, will she come back? Like, because that part of her that's severed would have died.
I think Cold Harbor, now that I'm sitting there thinking about it, I think Cold Harbor represents grief.
Possibly. But
And that's why
I
they
just,
need Mark to complete it.
yeah, I just can't help but think why. Well, I do think she'll die. And I think it also comes down to the question she's asked at the beginning of the episode. What are you more afraid of, drowning or suffocating? So I think it'll come down to that. But I do think that like she will die. But then I think they'll take her back to like the dentist room, and the dentist chip will kick in for that persona. Does
Oh,
that make sense?
yeah.
I mean, now that could very well be wrong. I don't know. I also think there's an off chance that Mark will finish Cold Harbor, essentially sending her to her death, and I kind of think that doctor might save her.
Oh, the one that clearly has feelings for her.
The Beast, yeah.
Yeah.
I could see
And
that
we didn't
happening,
really
like the
get a
irony of Mark killing her and then her being saved by her oppressor.
yeah, and we also didn't get any kind of indication of who um of what the other rooms are, right?
Only a
We
few
didn't
of them.
see all of them, right?
No, we didn't see all of them. We just saw like a few. We saw the dentist, we saw the airplane, we saw the Christmas living room. We got an impression that she was going to go to a gym, I think, because she and him were both in workout clothes at one point. Was that all we saw?
I think so. Well, we saw that scene on the plane.
Yeah, the airplane room, which is crazy. Which also, the fact that they were able to put her on an airplane in one of these rooms and have it simulate a crashing airplane makes me wonder, was the are you okay? Your cat getting in the way?
My cat's trying to eat a plant. Sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
but it makes me wonder if the Ortbo experience was ever real.
Oh, yeah. I also wonder too, the one thing that I noticed that they didn't show us is I would be curious to know what cops show up at his house. I was really hoping they would reveal their face and we would realize it's somebody from Lumen.
It's 100% someone from Lumen. I mean, every step of the way from their university, the day they met
Yeah.
at the blood drive to the end was Lumen. I mean, it has to be Lumen. It has to be. There's no way that it's not. Or where it is Kier, wherever this city is in Kier, whatever, the police are just part of Lumen. You know what I mean? It's like a private police force, you know, kind of like some small townships and whatnot. But yeah, I don't know. Now, one thing I do want to kind of point out to you is when she turns into Miss Casey, how do they get her up to the floor?
You mean down to the floor?
Well, no, because she's already down. She has to go up. She's below them, right? I think, right?
I don't know because Melchek tells her to get in the elevator and go back up.
Well, because he also told her you're in, he got in the wrong elevator.
Yeah.
Well,
So we think
sorry, what?
no, go ahead.
No, so here's what I'm wondering, okay? If Gemma turns into Miss Casey, right, and that's one of the rooms, or is it the elevator that she goes in? When she's making her escape, she goes to the elevator, and she would have had to have known if that was the way she normally goes, that this is just going to turn me into another person, right? But I don't
Yeah.
think she goes that way because even when Miss Casey is sent to the elevator in season 1, she seems unsure. You know? It's almost like
Yeah.
she's never been there before. So I think one of those rooms has to lead her to the severed floor.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I was so deflated when I realized once she arrived that she went back to her severed self because she was so close to escaping and then just to be caught by Mr. Milchek,
Yeah.
which was just so deflating.
You know what else is weird?
What?
Mr. Milchek seems very uneasy about that hallway. It makes me wonder if he was down there at one point.
Oh, maybe.
Because both times we've seen him at that doorway, he's like, please turn around, just keep walking. Like he's
And
very
he didn't
like,
want to step far into there either.
no, he's like very like on edge, it seems like.
Yeah.
I think Natalie's also been down there.
Yeah, I do too.
After seeing that, I think her brain is pudding.
Yeah. Miss Cabell. Yeah, I don't know, man. I can't believe we only have 3 episodes left.
I know, I'm bummed.
I
They
just
are working on season 3 though, so
yeah, and
hopefully it won't
this
take forever.
and we got news that this is the most watched television show of all time, which is
Yep.
crazy to think about.
Yep. One more thing.
Did you
Oh,
see the
sorry.
budget? 18 million an episode.
That's insane. Which that sounds like a lot, but I feel like aren't some actors paid like 20 million per episode? Like weren't the Friends actors paid like 20 million an episode or something crazy? Or
Oh,
maybe it was a season. Maybe it's 20 million an episode make them like billionaires.
yeah.
Um
Yeah.
so one more thing I want to point out is the shot where it shows Mark and Miss Casey at MDR and like the camera goes up and then down through the wires. Do you remember that shot?
Yes.
The director said that was all practical effects. There was no
I saw
CGI
that.
there. Yeah. But it's where it takes us that I'm so unsettled. It takes us to another floor that's way darker than MDR, but has the 4 computers, 4 people at the computers, and they each kind of resemble our MDR people. Did you notice that?
I did.
The only
I
difference
did.
is Drummond is down there with Dr. Maurer. So these people are definitely in on it. And it seems like they're watching their progress, but that makes you wonder, like every time they get up and look at goats and get in trouble at O&D, like are the watchers not like, hey guys, your flock is loose. Like, what are you doing? So
Yeah, because they're clearly being watched all the time.
yeah, it
I
must
mean,
purely just be like a log, a data logging for them. Like, Mark did this for 20 minutes or something, because like otherwise they would never be able to escape and do all these shenanigans, these escapades.
yeah. Now we do think that Heliar is Heliar again, right?
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah.
It'd be
Yeah.
funny if it wasn't though, and Helen is like, I'm going back for round 2.
Yeah. I don't think it was this week's episode. I think it was last week's uh but that awkward dinner between them.
At the Chinese restaurant.
No, sorry. Well, that too, but I'm talking about the one with Bert and
Oh yeah, Field and
yeah.
Ernie.
And there was a whole thing about why he called him that name that starts with a A.
Attila.
There was yeah, there was a whole theory about that.
Oh,
Yeah, and
I
I
never
can't
heard the
remember.
theory.
Yeah, and I try not to go down the rabbit hole because I don't want to get too much spoiled for me, you know what I mean? So,
Well, it's only
um,
spoiler if the theory's right.
that is true, and I
You and I
think
sat on that theory for a long time from season 1 to season 2, and it ended up just kind of getting blown up in our faces, I feel like, which I'm fine
yeah,
with. That means we don't know what's happening. It's more exciting that way.
I think so. Like, I don't want to see it coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
I I do wonder though, if you're gonna guess, okay, do you think that Mark and Gemma are gonna see each other before the end of the season? I think they're gonna see each other, but she's gonna be severed, and she's not gonna know her like Gemma does.
I
And it's
don't
gonna be
know.
super heartbreaking.
I'm expecting another finale that makes your jaw drop like the season 1 finale, you know? Not topping that she's alive is gonna be really tough, but they're gonna do it. I know they're going to. So I know that there's gonna be some major like, "Oh my god," and it's gonna end, and I'm gonna be like, "God, 2 more years at least probably before I find anything out."
Yeah, 100%. But
I don't
hey,
know.
right after this show's done, we get Last of Us, which that's exciting.
Yeah, it's what, in April, I think?
Yeah,
I'm pumped, yeah. I
yeah,
haven't even started Yellow Jackets this season. I need to
yeah. I
get into
haven't
that.
either. All right. So, anything else to add?
No, we'll leave it at that. Spoiler warning ended. Although if you're listening, you already know that. Or you
Yeah,
already
you
had it
already.
spoiled.
Yeah, you already know. All right. So the question that I had is what. So what games do you feel have the most satisfactory, like that just make you feel good, either about the gameplay or the combat mechanics? We could just alternate if you want, if that's cool with you.
Sure.
Or I could just leave the ones off that I know that you have that we'll figure it out.
I think we only
But
have
anyways,
one. No, we have 2.
yeah. So my first one, which what I'll do is I'll actually just delete this, and then when you bring it up, I'll just say that was also mine. Um, and then I'll do the same thing for this one as well. All right. So for my first one is and these are in no particular order. So, Shadows of Mordor / Shadows of War.
Yeah.
I think the combat in that game is so fun, but also more so the Nemesis system, which freaking WB like copyrighted, and then they never did anything with.
Yeah. And then
I
was
think
that one of the series that got shut down or no?
no. But I think about that, and I think about how fun that would be, like in a Assassin's Creed type game, especially
Oh
the
yeah.
shadows coming out. You know what I mean? Like if you're in a fight and somebody gets killed, they move up the rank or
Oh,
whatever.
absolutely.
Yeah, like I just think about the fact that they have that and they're just not doing anything with it. But
Yeah.
that's my first one.
You mentioned Assassin's Creed. I'm kind of because I do this all the time. They released a small clip, and I haven't followed much of Assassin's Creed Shadows news, right?
Was it the fighting one?
Where he like dismembers the guy. Have you
Oh, I didn't
seen it?
see that. I saw he like
Oh,
kicks him through a door or
yeah,
something like
it's
that.
in that one. I think he kicks him through the
Uh,
door and they fight, and then he cuts his arm off and his head. And I was like,
Oh,
dang, that's
I think in Japan they're going to censor the violence in that, but we should get the full on. I think one.
that's the choice. I've got Wolfenstein 2 is my first one. I think
Ooh,
Wolfenstein 2 is one of the best shooters. I'm talking about the new one, the one from a
yeah,
few years ago. Just the shooting in that game feels great. The movement feels great. Not to mention the story is awesome. Yeah, Wolfenstein 2 is immediately what I thought of when you brought this up today.
yeah. No, that's a great one. I think that's probably one of the better first person shooters that I've played. And the story's super interesting as
Hmm.
well, right? So, um, and then mine, and I'm really excited because I actually just downloaded the remaster on Xbox. But Ninja Gaiden Black / Sigma, which is Ninja Gaiden 2, essentially, Ninja Gaiden Black 2. That was one of my favorite for the longest time, like action, like combat action games. That was one of those games that if you didn't block or parry, you were not going to make it very far in that game. It was one of the first games that taught me that you can't be too greedy, or else you're going to die.
Yeah.
But that game, just to me, has some really satisfying combat.
Yeah. I actually haven't played those. So that
Oh,
might be
okay.
something I have to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so there are very few games I feel like, especially when it comes to licensed properties, that actually make you feel like the person you're playing as. But the Batman Arkham games made me feel like I was Batman. Um, all of them, all of them. I didn't play Origins, but all of them. So like you jump in, you're just kicking the crap out of bad dudes. It feels like each punch you land has true impact. Each gadget you use, I mean, it's a shame that we haven't got another one. And I know we got Suicide Squad. That's an abomination as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And it's rumored that they are working on another Arkham game or something in the Batman universe. I hope that's true. I hope it's the same people who did the Arkham series because that franchise is missed. Just the best combat, I feel like, just the most satisfying. Just man, just the combos, stringing them together, dodging. Oh my god, it's so good.
Who does that? What studio does that game? Is
Uh,
it?
I don't know. It's Warner
It's not.
Brothers something.
It's not Sucker Punch. That's not it.
No, that's
Is it
wait,
Rock something?
Rocksteady. Rocksteady.
Rocksteady.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
blanking on that one.
Yeah. Those games are great. And the story's not bad in most of them.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, especially the first one. So mine is my next one is, and it's a different pick, but it's I guess it's Sifu is how you would say that, but it's
I always thought
SIFU.
Sifu, but maybe it is Sifu.
Yeah, yeah.
They're making a
Um,
TV show
oh, I didn't know that.
or a movie, one or the other.
But the gameplay, like the combat is obviously really good. It has, countering, kung fu, different moves. You can pick up weapons. You can utilize the environment. But the other interesting concept about that, and they actually did, I think, did you watch any of the secret level episodes on Amazon?
No, I did not.
So they did one based off of this, and it's one of my favorite ones on there. But what I like about this game is if you die, you come back older,
Yeah,
and you can get to the point that by the time you're at the end of the game, you're like a really old man.
the combat in
But
this
yeah,
game is excellent.
yeah, just the hand to hand combat. It kind of reminds me of. Did you ever play Sleeping Dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit of that, but just made modern. But yeah, it's good.
Yep. Where am I on my list here? Oh, Modern Warfare 2019. Um,
Is that the remake?
They remade Modern Warfare, and Call of Duty games, like them or hate them, they have great shooting mechanics. The gameplay of Modern Warfare, the 2019 version, felt great. To date, it's probably my favorite or second favorite Call of Duty game. So, and also that's the one that gave us the first version of Warzone. So,
Yeah.
Warzone was built off of that game. So, just a great first person shooter, great story, great multiplayer, just great all around.
Yeah, no, that's a great choice. And obviously the gunplay mechanics with most all Call of Duty games are always usually that's like the one thing that you can typically count on that you're going to enjoy is at least the combat. But yeah, so for me, next one is Bloodborne. That was one of the very first, I guess you would say, Souls-like games that I really dove into. But the reason I love Bloodborne so much versus like a lot of the Dark Souls games is up until that point, I felt like Bloodborne was like the fastest version of a Souls-like game that I'd ever played. The combat was fluid, it was quick. It what you didn't feel sluggish, kind of like you did in Dark Souls. You didn't feel so heavy, I guess you'd say. Plus, it was like this London / steampunk goth like environment, and just the overall environments, but also the gameplay for Bloodborne, I really really enjoyed. Did you play Bloodborne?
I did not.
It's good. A lot of fans want them to remaster it
That's
or
all
bring
I
it to
see.
PC.
Anytime Sony makes a like
Yeah.
announces a new showcase, like Bloodborne win. When are we getting Bloodborne?
Yeah,
So
and they were all in that rumor mill that like that last trailer they showed leading up to I guess the state of play. It was like
yeah, it
they
ended
were
with one
flashing
game.
all those words and it was like be persistent and the video that was playing when those words dropped was Bloodborne. So they were like thinking that that was going to be they're finally going to do it and then
Yeah.
nothing's been announced. So
My next one's a two-parter. Are you cool with that?
oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. So I've got The Last of Us Part 2 and The Last of Us Part 1 remastered. Part 2, when it came out, I thought was like light years ahead of 1 in gameplay, and then they remastered 1 with the 2 engine. So they both play very similarly now. Man, that game is just excellent. Navigating that world, setting traps, killing enemies, all of it just feels so real and raw. When you, especially in 2, when you shoot and kill someone, it feels like it matters in that world. It's not just a person. It feels like
You're
every
taking someone's
NPC has a
life.
name. Yeah, it feels like every NPC has a name. The people around them react appropriately when they find them. And it's like gut wrenching in some cases, you know? But the game just feels like almost too good. like it
Yeah,
almost feels like, oh, I may have actually just killed someone in this game.
yeah, and especially when you're going to loot a room and you see a dead body and then there's a note and then you read it and you get that lore and the backstory and all that stuff. It just
Mhm.
like it just continues to add like the gravity and the weight of the situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when you are out there killing people, like I try to just like stealth as much as I can, but if like I have to pull the trigger, like it does feel a little heavy to have to do so.
It's either you or them, right?
Yep, for sure. And I will say too, the big thing I really enjoyed about Last of Us 2 is when you switched over to Ellie, just like not Ellie, but
Abby.
Abby. The gameplay style difference between those two is so different, and the weapons that you use too. It just felt like they did a great job of like letting you feel strong because Abby is obviously jacked and she's big. And I tell you, the gameplay mechanic they used where you were getting hunted by Ellie and she was setting traps and stuff. Like, because obviously fist to fist, she's not gonna beat Abby, right?
Yeah.
But like when she's going and she's utilizing all these things that you've learned from the first game to the second game, and now you're going against that, just that whole gameplay element I just thought was really cool.
Yeah.
For me, this is a throwback to regular Xbox. The first person shooter Black. That game I feel like was ahead of its time when it came out. Not only graphically, but gameplay wise, when it came to first person shooters. You had the destructible environments. You had the pretty big weapon library. but just the overall gameplay of that game just felt so good. It just felt really tight. It's a game that I actually went back and played not that long ago, oddly enough. But yeah, I really enjoyed Black. And I'm trying to think of who even made that
I
game.
thought it was EA.
That's what I was thinking. I was really surprised that it must have just not have it must have just not have done well if they didn't really. Yeah, it was EA. But I think what they did is they took everything they learned from Black and they put it into Battlefield Bad Company. Is what they did. Because it kind of had the same similar vibe. But yeah, it was EA. You're right.
Okay. My next one is also kind of a two-parter. So I've been playing through Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which I think has awesome combat and gameplay. It's not just like you don't just swing your sword like a maniac. You actually have to there's like a little icon you have to kind of aim where you're swinging it like to the arms, legs, face, chest, whatever. So that's really cool. And that also reminded me of a multiplayer game that's been out for a couple of years now called Chivalry 2. Which is also kind of the same vibes, just in this medieval type warfare game. But it's also the same way. You've got to choose to slice or overhead or stab. And, there's it feels like an infinite amount of weapons in that game too. It's just really robust. Has quite the learning curve for Chivalry 2. But I feel like both of those games are just great when it comes to combat. It feels satisfying when you win a battle. It's not just go up and hit them with a sword and they're dead. It takes some time to not only wear them down, but not wear yourself down, but also get the best of them. And it's really cool.
Yeah, I agree. And then also just the environment and just the dialogue and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is really good. What the characters do if you make choices before you even talk to them and just how that affects the conversation. I was watching a video of somebody the other day that they evidently went out back and because you can obviously dig in the ground or whatever, but they had actually went out back and dug a hole where there was a bunch of shit laying. And and they go and they talk to the NPC. And if you would have talked to the NPC first, they would have given you that as a quest to do if you wanted to make some quick coin. But because the player had actively already done it, it completely changed the conversation to the point where he basically calls your player a freak that he just actively chose to go dig a hole where there was shit. And so glad that he did it, but he's not going to pay him since the work's already done. Just all kinds of stuff. So just the fact that it can change that much is pretty cool.
Yeah.
For me, this game, I don't like a ton of Ubisoft games. I like Far Cry. I've kind of fallen out for Assassin's Creed, although I am excited for this new one. But one of the games that really went under the radar and I don't think necessarily got a lot of the attention it deserved was Immortal Phoenix Rising. I know I've brought this game up on this podcast several times, but this is the game this was essentially Ubisoft's Breath of the Wild clone, but with Greek mythology. The combat is super polished. It plays like Breath of the Wild, but more actiony. And then also just the massive open world and just the character progression and upgrade and choices that you can make in that game and the dialogue choices. It's just a really fun game. And I really enjoyed it. It's a game that I've went back to more than once. But really, really enjoy that game. It's if you haven't played it, I would definitely recommend it if you're looking for something that's a little lighthearted, but got a lot of game because I think I put maybe to beat it, I think I put 30 to 40 hours in it maybe. So it's got a decent amount of gameplay. And then the last one that I'll mention, and I can't really go too in depth, but from what little I've played of Avowed so far, I really like the combat. The combat, it reminds me like I'm playing an Elder Scrolls game, but with faster combat that feels a little bit more thought through and polished. And you can make some hybrid classes, which is pretty cool. You don't necessarily have to follow one specific build. So you can have a wand in one hand and a pistol in the other, or if you want to dual wield melee weapons. I had a dagger in one hand and an axe in the other. But so far it just feels really fun and really good. Yeah, so that was mine. Anything else that you wanted to add?
No, I think that's it.
All right, perfect. All right, well, let's talk about what we got going on coming up that we're looking forward to. I'll go ahead and go first since I feel like I have the most. So, looking forward to finally getting my surgery done next Wednesday. I'll be off for a week, so I will be playing some video games and relaxing while I recover. I'll be getting my surgery on Wednesday. Go for my post-op follow-up on Friday. And then after that, I'm going to the mountains for the rest of the time I'm gone, just because if I'm going to be off, I might as well go somewhere not far from home and relax. So I'm going to do that. Got family vacation coming up in April, which we'll be going to Gatlinburg. So I'm excited about that. And then excited for the MLS season. Atlanta United has had one game so far, but I'm planning on actually going and making a couple visits to the actual stadium to watch games. So pretty excited about that. I know you're not a big MLS fan, are you?
I follow FC Cincinnati.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're good.
Yep.
Between them and Columbus, they're both pretty good. So,
They are.
all right. What about you?
Yeah, I'm really pumped for the baseball season, MLB season starting soon, as well as MLB The Show 25, which comes out next Friday. That will be my obsession for the next several months. Also excited for Severance. If you couldn't tell, we're fans. And then Split Fiction comes out this week, Thursday, I believe. It's that game from that kind of goofball from the Game Awards, not Jeff Keighley, the other one.
The same studio did It Takes Two, right?
Yeah.
Amongst others, but yeah.
Yeah, it comes out Thursday, so I'm excited to try that out.
Yeah. Yeah, that looks really good. And I saw, I'm not sure who reviewed it, but somebody reviewed it, gave it a 10 out of 10.
Oh.
So, yeah, I don't know what it's at on Metacritic, but it's getting pretty good reviews.
It has a 90 on OpenCritic.
Yeah. So that's so I'm looking forward to that. I do think it's interesting because you have two different stories being told, one sci-fi, one fantasy, and their worlds kind of bleed in together. So you can like be playing in one fantasy world, next thing you know, you're jumping and you go into like the sci-fi world. So it's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about that.
What do you think the top 3 games this year are according to OpenCritic?
Damn. So far this year.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones won?
No, that was last year.
Oh, that was last year, right? Shit. Well, Monster Hunters is selling like gangbusters, but I don't know what the reviews are like.
It's number 2.
Okay. What else we got? Oh, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2?
That's number 3.
Okay. And then trying to think of what else is out. Don't tell me it's not MLB The Show. Can't be.
No, it doesn't have reviews. We just talked about Split Fiction.
Oh yeah. That one's out. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
A 2 Point Museum also came out today. It has an 83.
I've never played any of those. Those are like those top-down build 'em simulator type things.
Yeah.
Like
Avowed,
management.
81.
Yeah.
Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, 81.
Have you played Avowed yet?
Yeah, very briefly. Just the day it came out, I played a little bit. I liked it, but I'm like fully invested into Kingdom Come and Pirate Yakuza and now Monster Hunter.
Yeah. I think I'm going to try to. I am going to go back to Avowed, but I think I'm at least going to try to get through the campaign of Monster Hunter first, because I think it's only I think the story is only like 15 hours. And then after that,
go on.
It doesn't I'm talking about just the story. I mean, obviously the game doesn't end after that because you continue to grind and go on hunts and all that stuff. But the actual campaign itself, I want to say is like maybe 15 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm at least going to try to get through that and then just kind of grind to get some better gear and stuff. Yeah. So, because I know they're constantly putting some stuff into that game. So, all right, well, let's go. Well, this is fun. It's a little awkward about our picks of the week. But
it's a unified pick this week.
It is a unified pick. Why don't you go ahead and let our listeners and viewers know what that pick is?
So we both picked Monster Hunter Wilds. If I had to guess, Jared did not pick this one because he only has 1.4 hours according to Steam on it.
I love how you looked it up.
I did. I looked it up and I noticed that he bought another game called Repo, and he already has more time on that than he does Monster Hunter Wilds.
Please tell me Repo is a game where he goes and repos people's cars. It's like honestly, a simulator.
I don't know what it is. The picture looks like the smiling emoji if it was methed out. Actually, no, not methed out. It has teeth. Just like not in a good place. It says it's an online co-op horror game. Weird, online co-op. I don't think we played this with him, have we?
No, just like you haven't played Marvel Rivals with us.
That you are wrong, sir. Jared and
You
I
play with
played
J
last week. Yeah.
and nobody texted me. Cool.
No.
Cool, cool,
I
cool.
thought
Cool, cool, cool,
that
cool,
is
cool.
true. We didn't. I actually thought, hang on a minute. Now I'm confused.
What do you mean?
Well, I thought Jared put it in the group chat, but maybe he just texted me.
Oh, you
Let's see if
trying
I
to put
can.
him on blast? Is that
I
is
am.
that what
I am. God.
No, it might have been in group chat. I just may not have been available. But
Well, for
anyways.
some reason, I can't even get the search
But
function on your
yes,
messages to work.
our pick of the week is Monster Hunter Wilds. I think for us being kind of first time Monster Hunter people, we both find this game to be more accessible, but the combat and the gameplay and the graphics are pretty good. I have to say, I've been very impressed by how it's performed on PlayStation so far.
He did only message me, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
thanks,
so he's
Jared.
a piece of crap. Monster Hunter Wilds on the PS5 Pro, amazing.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
makes me excited to see what GTA 6 is going to look like. I know Monster Hunter Wilds isn't like the benchmark for good looking games, but we kept hearing about how much trouble it was having on consoles, and like it runs amazing on
And it does
PS5
have,
Pro.
well, to be fair, it does also have PS5 Pro enhanced features too.
Yeah, that's what I'm
So,
saying. Like it makes me excited to see
yeah.
like what like GTA 6 and other
And
games.
I've played half of that. I played half of that game on my Portal that I played
Nice.
so far. So, and it's ran great. So, and that's even away from the home. So,
Is it the
all
Portal
right.
your only handheld right now?
Yeah. Yeah. Why?
I'm just surprised.
I know, but now the problem is now I got Game Pass. I'm like, what am I doing now?
Yeah.
But I can play xCloud on anything, so that's not really a problem.
On your
So
Portal?
no, I can't play it on.
Yeah.
I can't play it
what I
on there.
thought.
You got me.
That's what I
I
thought.
for a half second entertained the idea of returning my Portal and looking at that like Logitech G Cloud, but I was like, nah,
Don't do that. No.
I'm not doing that.
Don't even entertain that
If
idea.
anything, I go back to a Steam Deck before I did that.
You could get like the LCD Steam Deck for like $200, I'm sure, like on eBay or Reddit.
Yeah. But anyways, that's neither here nor there.
You went, yeah. I don't know about that, Chief.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Justin. Well, anything else to add before we take off?
No.
Look at that. We came in right shy of an hour.
I'm gonna be
great work.
crazy professional. Do I press the button or do you press the button?
No, I got it. You didn't.
All right. Okay.
If you were crazy professional, you would have typed it in chat instead of just ask out loud like a
The
fool.
chat isn't real chat. It's only for like, oh, there's a private channel. Just kidding.
Yeah, don't. But anyways, we want to thank everyone who's listened and watched. Please make sure you like and subscribe. More importantly, make sure you share us with your friends. Also, feel free to comment if you ever want to see us talk about a specific topic, or if you want to have some debate about some of the stuff we've talked about, or if you just want to share some of your responses to some of the questions that we talked about tonight, whatever it may be. But we appreciate you, and make sure you also go out and follow our social medias. But without further ado, Justin, you know what time it is. Peace. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Nerds with Mics. If you enjoyed today's deep dive into all things nerdy, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please make sure not to forget to leave us a review wherever you listen or watch. Your feedback always helps us grow. And if you know a fellow nerd that would love the show, share it with them. Until next time, stay nerdy, stay awesome, and keep those mics on.